Okay, we are live. I am going to share my screen with you,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to get started. All right, Chelsea. When's your birthday?
October 20th, 1991,
What time?
11:55 a.m.
And where?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Very good. Okay, Chelsea. 28 degrees Sagittarius rising. Is it?
Yep.
Very
Libra
good.
Sun, Pisces Moon.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so, Chelsea, I always start with the same question, and that is, what is going on in your life lately?
Lately, the newest update, I just quit my job. I've been teaching for about 8 years. But recently I found it to be extremely more stressful than it has ever been. Um, as far as passion wise, I feel like my passion is dwindling. I don't know. Um, so I don't know what the universe has next for me, but that's that. Um, also got married this year. That's an interesting
No.
update. Um, but yeah, I want to say that's about it. I don't know what's next for me at all, but I'm just yeah, going with the flow.
You got married this year. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's start with the teaching thing. So you've been doing it for 8 years. It's quite a while.
Mhm.
Um, so what's happened? What's made it more stressful recently?
I think it was just the environment that I was in. I moved to Georgia about 4 years ago or 3 years ago. Um, and I've been at the same school since. Um, and I want to say that's something that stands out with me because in my whole life since I've been working, I've never held a job more than 2 years. So I think I get bored easily. Um, and I like change. So I do notice that. So I don't know if that's playing a part. Um, but just the school itself, um, I don't think it was no longer a fit.
In which way?
Um, the students had no consequences. Um, the people there were very toxic. It was a lot of favoritism. Um, yeah, I didn't think I was appreciated. I didn't feel like I was appreciated. And it was a new school, so they opened. Um, I want to say they've been open for 3 years, and I was one of the founding teachers there. So I've been
Ah.
with them since they've opened. And I just didn't feel
Ah.
valued, I guess you could say.
Hmm. Okay. When did you start?
When did I start? I want to say 2023 in October.
Oh, October already. Okay. So that's when you moved to Georgia also.
Um, I want to say I moved to Georgia in January of 23.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the whole story starts in January.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually kind of curious why you moved to Georgia, but we're going to save that for a bit later. So,
Got
for the
you.
time being, we're going to start with the beginning of your tenure at the school. What's the school called?
Peace Academy.
Peace Academy. How nice is that?
Right. Right.
Okay, very good. The story of Peace Academy. So there's a couple things I'm going to point out, and we're going to reduce the chart down to just a couple planets, because those are the
Mm-hmm.
only ones that are relevant for now. Now, What I want to point out to you, I have the transits up. So the inside wheel, Chelsea, is your natal chart. So that's where the planets were when you were born. And the
Mhm.
outside wheel is the transiting chart. So the transiting chart is the location of the planets now or at any given point in time that we choose. So I have the transits up for October of 2023.
Mhm.
And what I want to point out to you is that Saturn at that time is at 0 degrees of Pisces. Okay, so at the very, very beginning. And that was the beginning of your journey, wasn't it?
Interesting.
Hmm. Now, from that time forward, Saturn has been in Pisces the entire time. So your entire tenure at Peace Academy has been Saturn's transit through Pisces. Now, Pisces is the sign of peace. So here we have the story of Peace Academy. Yeah?
Yeah.
And the whole time that you're going through this transit, Saturn is going through your third house. He would have entered already from February of 2024. So just a few months after you started. And the third house is the house of schooling. It's the house of school children. It's the house of educating them, doing the
Mhm.
ABCs, singing the songs, being in the classroom, being with other school teachers. The third house has very youthful, mercurial energy.
Mhm.
Writing, talking, learning, preparing lesson plans, making games for the kids. And Saturn has the energy of giving you a challenge, something that you're focused on every day in terms of developing yourself and also struggling or feeling frustrated or constantly having to invest energy and effort wherever he's transiting.
Mhm.
So, obviously, the entire time he's been transiting through your third, and your story has been unfolding at Peace Academy. Does it
Mhm.
all make sense so far?
So far, so good.
Okay. And he's transiting your moon in the third house. Now, one thing that stands out to me about your moon is she's an immutable sign. Mutable meaning changeable, something that's flexible, adaptive, and gets bored quickly, needs
Mhm.
different things going on, which also when you're with kids, obviously there's a lot of mutability going on because there's some new chaos every single day.
Definitely chaos.
And so Saturn transiting your moon in the third tells me, okay, you didn't feel valued, you didn't feel appreciated, you didn't feel seen. And you probably had to deal with a lot of chaos and a lot of disrespect.
Mhm.
Is it?
I agree.
Very good. Something else I want to point out as part of this story. Notice what's happening on this part of your chart. Okay, you have Saturn natally at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And Aquarius is the sign of community, but it's therefore also the sign of being in an organization, because in that case, you're in the community of teachers and you all work together. And that's what
Mhm.
Aquarius is about. It's about teamwork. And you have it at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is the very, very beginning, isn't it?
Mhm.
And think about what you told us. You were there as a founding member of Peace Academy. And there's the 0 degree Saturn in your chart in the first house. Never
That's
mind that you're,
amazing.
yeah, right? And so for me, that is about Pluto's transit to your Saturn, because you can see that in 2023, 2024, Pluto made his first entry to Aquarius. And so he started a very brand new story. And in your case, he was conjoined Saturn. And so there for me is when you become a founding member and obviously have to establish a lot of the systems that are at Peace Academy. Never mind all the situations you would have to go to through with the administration at Peace Academy, because that's what Saturn is, the admin, the supervisors, the superintendents. So that tells me that was probably also a big part of the story here. Does all that make sense so far?
So far, so good.
Very good. So I've reflected a little bit. What do you think? And what does this make you, what comes up for you as you listen to all that?
It's definitely eye-opening. Um, yeah, can't debate it. 100% accurate. But just to see this is like a wow moment.
What are some of the things in your time at Peace Academy that were really problematic for you?
I want to say their mission was very different. They tried to create a school that was different from the rest. So for example, consequences for children were not a thing. Um, so like suspensions, write-ups, students receiving consequences for their actions was not really a thing. So for example, a student can hit another student, and then administration will allow that student to go in a room and take a nap, that type of thing. And it was very unheard of, um, very different. I tried to see the good in it, you know, but eventually, I don't think I agree with it anymore. I'll say that because even when behaviors um, were worse, um, there was still no consequences.
Okay. The first thing that comes up to me is again the 0 degree transit happening here. Because if you think about it, Pluto enters 0 degrees and you're suddenly in an environment that is totally new, unheard of,
It was
experimental.
very, very new, very unheard of.
Okay. So there's your 0 degree Saturn. And it's specifically, guess what? About discipline, disciplining the kids. And that makes me think about Pluto to your Saturn, that there was no discipline. And so where do
Mhm.
you stand in all that? And that's my next question. Okay, if you couldn't discipline the kids, how how were you in that environment? Where were you in that environment?
Um, I would be, I guess, still teaching, still trying to process, the behaviors in that moment. Um, and I guess just trying to look the other way, even though I didn't agree with the things that was going on in the building. Yeah, I just kind of looked the other way and tried to continue what I was there for, and that was teaching. I love to teach. Well, I'll put an ED on it. I loved to teach. But I think I'm stepping away too because I don't want that environment to ruin my passion.
Hmm. You quit already.
hmm
When?
Um, this past Friday, so that was the 15th, I want to say, December 15th.
Okay, so just now. Meaning you're done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no 2 week anything.
I did put in 2 weeks. And the ending of my 2 weeks was Friday.
Oh, this past Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're out free officially.
Yes.
Hmm. Okay. What that makes me think about is Saturn's been transiting your moon and Pisces for the entire time that you are working there. At the end of November, Saturn stationed direct for the last time in Pisces, and Saturn is now going to leave Pisces. He's on his way out. So
Mm.
the fact that you quit just as Saturn is quitting Pisces tells me that the whole stint at Peace Academy was about that transit. And now
Wow.
you're onto something new, even though we're not too sure what it is yet because Saturn hasn't changed signs yet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So
Okay.
when will Saturn change?
In February.
Okay.
Um, okay, what else is going and okay, let me so you said you don't want it to ruin your passion for teaching. Did I hear that
hmm
right?
Yes.
Okay. What do you plan to do instead? Do you have an idea already?
Mm, I have no idea. I want to say, um, maybe some years ago I did like work from home jobs, like customer service. It was in healthcare, um, still helping people, like I help children. So that was an interesting time. I want to say I did that for maybe a year. And then I jumped right back into the classroom. So I'm considering kind of redoing that. Um, Maybe do some type of work from home for a little while just to get like a mental break, mental reset, and then maybe jump back into the classroom again. But that's an option.
Hmm. But for now, there's nothing else happening.
No, nothing.
Hmm. So what are you doing instead?
Um, I don't have a plan B. Um, like when I was in a classroom, my anxiety would get so bad, to where it was affecting my mental state. I'm currently in therapy. Um, and I feel like working made my mental worse. Mess with my emotions, different things like that. So I really need like a time to just woosah, if that makes sense. So I really don't have a plan B. I kind of gave up because I felt as though mentally I couldn't do it anymore. Like I really just needed a mental break. So once I kind of take about 2 weeks off, I'll sit back and start applying for jobs and start seeing what's out there, that type of thing. But I'm leaning more towards work from home.
Hmm. Okay, what was making your mental bad? What was making you so anxious in that environment?
Um, the behaviors at the school and seeing that it was like a repeating pattern. I think that's what did it for me. Usually I walk into work like at the beginning. I will walk into work so passionate, ready to start my day, ready to teach my kids. Um, just happy. I would say I'm happy. Um, but maybe I want to say about a month into the school year, I didn't feel that anymore. So I would walk into the building, um, not feeling so happy, kind of down, didn't want to be there. And I felt it internally. I would be in my classroom, um, and teaching my kids just wasn't fulfilling, like it normally was in the past. Um, so I don't know. I felt something changing and like the desire to be in the classroom, it wasn't making me happy anymore.
Hmm. Okay. Um, can you see that in Saturn conjoining your moon? And this conjunction has been exact for the past year. Really, it's been happening for the past 2, 3 years, but now it's the hardest period. Because think about what you said. You're showing up to the school, and on the inside, you don't feel happy, Saturn to the moon.
Mhm.
You feel anxious, Saturn to the moon. You don't want to
Right.
be there, Saturn to the moon. And it's all happening in the third house, which is the school.
Mm, interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, and that makes me think about your moon being natally in the third, and that's you just love to be at school teaching. Like that's your greatest joy. And the other part of that, by the way, when we talk about you being a teacher, there is the moon in the third. Of course, your Sagittarius rising, the teacher. So you're ruled by Jupiter, and your Jupiter's conjunct Venus in Virgo. You know, Virgo is the virgin, so it represents young people who are innocent and don't know much, and who
Mm-hmm.
are studious and curious and asking lots of questions and reading books, so that you love teaching. You know, there's teachers that don't really love it. I don't know about that. That's just the sense I've gotten. But you're different. You say that you just love to be in the classroom.
I definitely have a passion for it. It's just for whatever reason, I like to tell people I know I love to be a teacher and I love teaching, but I didn't sign up to be a disciplinarian.
Hmm.
So that's what I felt like my classroom was turning into. I was constantly trying to correct children's behavior instead of teaching. And I don't want to do that.
Hmm. And I guess you felt they didn't respect that, the kids.
Right.
Okay, so they were kind of terrorizing you.
Um, yeah, but not purposely. I had a lot of students um who needed mental help um on the lines of that. So it's not really like disrespect on purpose. Um it was it was bigger than that.
Bigger.
Mhm.
Can you say more about that?
Like I had a lot of students in the classroom who were medicated. And it's crazy to say that because it's first grade. They're only 6 and 7 years old. Um, but I had maybe 5 or 6 students in the classroom who were on medication or who were about to be on medication. Um, just from my experience inside of education, you can kind of look at a student and tell when they're on a spectrum or it may be an underlying issue of something mentally. And I had a couple students who were like that as well. So
Hmm.
even though I wanted to be there and I wanted to teach, it was some days where I couldn't, I guess, accomplish that goal because the behaviors were bigger than me. And so by me not being able to, I guess, do what I was there for, it affected me.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Okay, so I hear a lot of like emotional absorption.
Hmm.
Okay, and confusion.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so all of that, the medication, confusion, it's all Pisces. Do you connect with that?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, and now that Saturn is finishing, you're also done. Like, but you said you're in therapy. That interests me also.
Hmm.
Since a while or just recently?
A while. Um, I even went to see a psychiatrist. But I didn't like that either because psychiatrists, it just seems like their job is to throw medicine at you, to fix your issues. And I don't agree with medicine. I'm kind of a herbal person. Um,
Ah,
yeah. So that didn't work either. But just having a therapist to talk things out with, it seems to help. So I do that like once a week.
oh, perfect. And have you been in, has it been like a year, 2 years?
Maybe a year. Yeah, about a year.
About a year. Okay. Um, that also makes me think about Saturn transiting your moon in the third. Because sometimes the moon in the third, you can also read like talking about your feelings. And in the case
Mhm.
of Pisces, we're talking about psychology because psychology is something very complex that has no end and no beginning and no place that you can really pin it down. It's just everywhere and there's always more. and it kind of goes everywhere. And so that's very
Mhm.
Pisces. Yeah, somebody's psyche. And so
Yeah, I can my mind is always all over the place.
and so Saturn conjoining your moon, seeing a therapist and trying to really understand what's going on internally with you and get it
Mhm.
under control. So there's Saturn to the moon as well. And it tends to be an extraordinarily isolating period.
I would agree.
Okay. You said that you've also gotten married this year.
Mhm.
When?
Um, 12. Oh. 12, 12. No, was it 12, 12, 12, 12, 24?
Uh-huh, so a year ago.
Mhm.
Almost exactly.
Right. We just made
Okay.
1 year on the 12th.
Huh. Okay. Um, is it okay if I ask you about that?
Sure.
Good. Um, how's your marriage been over the past year?
Mm, it's been okay. Not perfect, but okay.
Okay. Because again, Saturn conjunct the moon.
Mhm. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I question marriage. Just looking at it from a spiritual standpoint. Um, but it was something that I think I'm a very curious person. So I wanted to kind of jump in, see what marriage is all about. So I'm glad to have the experience, you know?
Uh-huh. Okay. That sounds kind of Well, I guess you know how that sounds.
Right. But I'm honest. I'm very honest.
Okay. So you're thinking about maybe it's not for you.
Um, it has its ups and downs. I'll say that.
Okay, how has the communication
I'm not
been?
gonna say it's not for me because if it wasn't, I don't think I would have done it. So it is for me because obviously I'm in it. Um, but I guess I used to go into things looking for perfection or I don't know, always hoping for the good and then when one thing goes bad, it's like, "Oh, I'm out. I'm done, I'm ready to quit." And I had to come to a realization that that's not marriage. Um,
Hmm,
so that's what I'm currently, I guess, working with, you know? I guess staying in the fight and not just quitting when one thing goes wrong.
brilliant. Okay. Again, Saturn to the moon, learning how to stay instead of to leave and run away. Learning how to steel yourself emotionally and be strong and be mature.
Yeah, it's definitely a work in progress.
What would you say is the hard part? One of them.
Finances, for sure.
Oh,
Definitely.
with your partner. That's something you guys argue about, or
Hmm. Not really argue, but yeah, we've been together 4 years. And throughout the 4 years, it's been a lot of just issues with finance.
okay. Um, I'm gonna go back 4 years. One, two, three, four. So 4 years ago, Saturn was at the beginning of your second house, the house of finance. And that was just after your Saturn return. So I guess you were like 29, 30 years old when you guys got together?
Hmm. Oh, my
Okay.
Saturn return was horrible.
Okay. We can get there in a moment, okay?
Hmm.
So you guys are having a hard time financially the entire time that Saturn is transiting your second. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. And is that still the case now?
Things have improved, but I feel like they're just starting to improve. But right when they're just starting to improve, look at me. I quit my job.
Uh-huh. So that brings up financial worries again.
Right.
Okay.
But hopefully not for long because I should jump into something soon.
Okay. And you also want to do that. You don't feel like sitting around.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay. Good. I get it. Um, what about the communication between you guys?
Um, that's rocky too. But if I had to kind of pick, certain things that stand out, I don't think I would put communication at the top.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Mhm. Um, but I do see why you call that out. Um, yeah, but I don't think I would put it at the top.
Okay.
I think with me communicating, I'm I'm known to be very quiet. I hold a lot of things in. Um, and I'll use the analogy of like a volcano to where I'll hold it in until I can no longer hold it in anymore, and then it kind of just oozes out or explodes. And I'm working on that too. But yeah, I can have an issue and I won't even say anything until I can no longer hold it in my mind anymore.
Uh-huh.
So sometime when it does come out and I communicate it, I may communicate it wrong. Or, some people say it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I think that can be an issue too.
Okay. So I'm guessing that especially over the last year, you were holding in a lot and not saying things that you felt deeply
Right. Definitely.
because Saturn is conjunct your moon in the third house. And something else that stands out to me when you say that you're very quiet, I immediately remember that you have Mercury in Scorpio, and Scorpio is silent.
Hmm. Like
And
even in high school, I got voted most quiet in the yearbook.
oh,
So I can be extremely quiet. Even with socializing with coworkers or out in groups, um, I guess I'm the one in the background. Um, and I don't say much.
okay, that makes me think about the trine between Moon and Pluto in your chart. Your Moon in Pisces being in the third of communication, Pisces being a very quiet sign also, because it's water. And Pluto in the 11th being when you socialize with coworkers or when you go out with friends. And so the two of them
Mhm.
together, that you're known to be the most quiet one to the extent that you were voted in the yearbook, third house, 11th house, as
Mhm.
most quiet. Because remember, the third house is high school and 11th house is your place in society. And so here I see that you were voted most quiet, which makes me think about the Pluto, because Pluto is about extremes, connected to the third house, which is about talking. Do you want to be quiet? Is that natural and comfortable for you, or is there something else going on?
Um, no, I think it's a self thing. I always second guess certain things. So I think that's something that I'm working on too. I feel like I have a lot to say, but I always think about um, how other people feel or how other people think, or
Hmm.
are people gonna agree with me when I say this, that sort of thing. Um, but I definitely have a lot to say. I have different opinions on a lot of topics. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a self thing, maybe self doubt.
Hmm. Okay. When you tell me that you're considering very often, what are other people gonna say? What are other people gonna think? That makes me think about your sun in Libra. You're very focused on your relationships, and how you come across. And notice that your sun is very closely conjunct both Mars and Mercury in Scorpio. Somehow this speaking thing that you have going on, for me it's happening here. And also because they square Saturn in Aquarius. And remember that that Aquarius is about socializing with other people.
Mhm.
So this makes me think about you being very careful. Also because Saturn is in your first house. Hmm. Okay, is this kind of making sense to you?
Mhm.
By the way, I even feel it also. I feel how I'm kind of pressing with pretty intimate questions and
No,
may
this is fine.
okay.
But yeah, it's definitely something I need to work on. I will say that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What else is happening in your life at the same time?
I want to say that's the main two things I can think about, honestly.
Main two things. So one of them is the school, and what's the second thing?
Just working in the marriage.
Okay. Okay. Would you be okay sharing more? And what's very important for me, Chelsea, is actually that you share real stories, like events that are taking place with
Mhm.
concrete facts and examples.
Mm.
And I know that can be kind of uncomfy,
Mhm.
but that's the only way I can show you what's happening in the chart.
Let's see. If we were to talk about career, I'll go back to career. Um, I guess I'm trying to figure out the self-doubting when it comes to that part. Um, and I say I don't know what's next, because I don't. When I looked at my chart, I had a lot of Capricorn energy, and that makes me think of um like being a boss, doing my own thing, but I don't feel that internally, not at all.
Hmm. Okay, what does it mean, self-doubting? Like, can you give an example of that?
Um, like always second guessing or starting something and then not completing it. Um, so for example, I know I love teaching. Um, and I want to say maybe some years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I had this big plan to start my own tutoring business. And I went to buy the EIN, and I made a logo and I made flyers. Um, I made a website, like an Instagram page, business page. And for whatever reason, I kind of doubted myself out of it. Um, and I didn't complete it. Maybe some years after that, I wanted to start a podcast. Um, so I came up with a logo and I created the business page and um, and I was like, I gotta start this podcast, because it's things I want to talk about. But just because I worry about what other people are going to say, I think that hinders me from completing tasks that I would like to complete.
Okay. There's so much coming up for me now. I'm gonna try to organize it all. One of them is like a clarifying question. It's about you growing up. When you tell me that, I feel like something happened to you in your schooling years that was very traumatic. Like you had people were spreading rumors about you or something like that.
Um, I may have had a little bullying going on, a lot of bullying. Um,
Uh-huh.
mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, I'm gonna try to make sense of this as best as I can. First of all, let's just take out Saturn and the Sun. Okay. You have Mercury conjunct Mars in the 10th house. So Mercury is obviously teaching or communicating, and Mars is something that you do. So that you're a teacher, we can just look at Mars and Mercury in the 10th. And then you also wanted to start a podcast, Mars and Mercury in the 10th. And then you wanted to have a tutoring business, Mars and Mercury in the 10th. You
Mhm.
see how it repeats itself, but in different forms. Yeah?
Mhm.
Very good. Now, I'm going to remove Mercury just to make it a little more simple and add Saturn. Mars in your 10th is like, okay, I'm going to start a business. Yeah,
But
I have all
Saturn is
these
the
ideas.
blocker.
Exactly.
Mm.
So this square for me is what's happening. And because Saturn is in your first in Aquarius, and Aquarius again has to do with other people. And so what is stopping you? What are other people going to say? Saturn in Aquarius in the first about you, squaring
Mhm.
Mars in the 10th, when and if you're going to make something happen publicly for your career. Yeah, so that you keep doubting yourself for me is about this square exactly.
So
Not getting started on anything.
is there a transit maybe that I need to look for that can kind of overpower Saturn so that that changes, or will that always be like that?
Um,
If I'm asking that question the right way.
okay, I can't say about always. No, I wouldn't say it's always going to be that way. At the moment, we're just identifying what's happening, and it is in your chart permanently.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean you're going to deal with that because sometimes a transit comes and it just changes everything. And it usually has to do with an outer planetary transit. For example, right
Mm.
now, if we look at Pluto, like Pluto is exactly square your Mars because you can see Pluto is at 2 degrees, your Mars is at 2 degrees. So this square that's in your chart is currently being transformed. That has been that your entire experience at Peace Academy is definitely also about Pluto's transit to both of these. Um, so something can change in the coming months because you can see Pluto's now moving away from Saturn. Pluto's never going to return to 0 degrees. And he's also going to move away from the square to Mars. And so the fact that you've quit just now and you're planning to do something different is also about this transit. But the question is, what are you going to do next? And we don't know yet because you're not there.
Right. I don't have a clue.
And I want to point out something else because you gave the time frame 4 years. So why don't we just go back 4 years and see what was happening? One, two, three, four. You can see Pluto was exactly square your sun when you were trying to make something happen career-wise, but then it didn't work out.
Mm.
And so that makes me think about the Pluto effect to the sun. Because the sun is about your self-expression. It's when you create something. It's when your name is attached to it.
Mhm.
And for you,
And
it's
that's
about
right around the time
business.
I was trying to create the business. Yep.
Exactly. And then the business was destroyed. So I guess that was a pretty challenging time for you identity-wise. Like, okay, you get started doing something and then it doesn't happen. I think that's pretty destructive for a person's self-worth.
Definitely.
And there you can see Pluto was squaring your sun that entire period.
Wow. That's interesting. Wow. So where is Saturn currently now in my chart?
Here in the third house.
Mm.
Why do you ask that? What does that make you think of?
Um, I'm not sure. I just know because we said Saturn is like the blocker in some cases, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I need to be on guard. Um, Now that it's transiting the third house, I'm wondering what can that bring up?
Well, the third house is the house of communication, for example, so you could feel blocked in expressing yourself.
Mm,
You could be working a lot on expressing yourself, actually, because that's also the energy of Saturn. It's when you try to finally resolve a long-standing issue.
that's interesting.
Do you have any sisters?
I have one sister
Okay. I guess do you have a brother as well?
and one brother.
And one brother. Okay. The third house is also the house of your siblings.
Yeah, it's been a lot of communication with my sister, but not so much with my brother. Um, my sister is currently, oh, she's going through it. Um, and I've been the person to like she'll call me and ask for advice basically every day as to how to do this, how to do this. Do you think I should do this? How should I say this? And I'm the younger sister.
Oh,
But I have to kind of I guess give her advice on different things. Yeah.
okay. So do you see the moon is in your third house? So your sister is very close to you and very important for you. And during this period that Saturn is transiting your moon in the third house, you're in contact with her constantly, trying to help her solve her issues, Saturn, trying to give her
Mhm.
advice, Saturn. And she's going through it, Saturn to the moon in the third house.
Mm.
How long would you say you've been in such close contact with her?
Um, we've always had close contact. But never in this extent. Like, usually our communication and our talks is very, very joyful, very sister like. Um, and maybe I'll say the past maybe 6 months. Um, Sometime I don't even want to pick up the phone. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, because yeah, it seems like when you pick up the phone, it's always, oh, this done happened,
there. Do you see
Yeah.
Saturn conjoining your moon in the third? You don't even want to pick up the phone because it's so
Right.
much coming at you from your sister.
Mhm.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Mhm.
There's a couple other things I want to point out to you now that we're on that subject. I specifically asked you about a sister and not a brother because of your Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Virgo. Again, Virgo is a girl, not a boy. And so that you have Venus-Jupiter for me was like, you must have a sister
Mhm.
because Venus is also a female planet. And now that you said you and her have always been really close, and typically when you talk, it's like sisterly talk. There's Venus Jupiter being very close and spending lots and lots of time with your sister.
Mm,
That together with the moon being in your third house, right? So your sibling being very close and very important for you. In this case, we're talking about your sister. I guess with your brother, it's a different situation. And
definitely different.
okay,
Definitely different.
uh, which makes me think about where your Mars is placed. We can talk about that a bit later. And the other thing that I notice is the transit of Jupiter. So Jupiter is moving through your seventh house of relating to other people. And he's moving through Cancer. Cancer is the sign of family. Cancer is the sign of closeness. Notice that Jupiter is currently at 22 degrees. Your natal moon is at 22 degrees. So the trine is exact. You can see that in our conversation. I'm the seventh house because I'm another person that you're relating to. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I'm Jupiter because I'm the astrologer. That's Jupiter. Yeah. And he's exactly
Mm,
aspecting your moon in the third house. And we're talking about your personal life and trying to make sense of what's going on. And I guess this is kind of insightful for you. And so there's
very
Jupiter
insightful.
exactly trining the moon. But because Cancer is the sign of family, and Jupiter makes things big, and Jupiter is aspecting your moon in the third, and every day you're on the phone with your sister more and more and more. Jupiter in the seventh to Moon in the third. Does that
Mm,
make sense?
that makes plenty of sense.
Very good.
I can no longer see the chart.
Oh no? What happened?
I don't know.
Internet seems okay. Is it? Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can see you. I just can't see the chart anymore. Not sure
Okay.
what happened.
Still not?
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's fine. Let's just it's a good time to pause anyway because it's 3. So let's pause here for today. Oh yeah, I can see that my well whatever. Can you still hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, what did you think about all that?
Um, it was very insightful. I know now that when I do pull up my chart and I look at the transits, I want to be able to look at the degrees more too, because I see that definitely plays a part. So I'm definitely gonna look more into that because I that's something I didn't notice at all. No, what happened? What happened? I'm done. It done.
Okay, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, very good. Sorry about that. Okay.
But yeah,
I'm
this
gonna
has
stop.
been really helpful.
Okay, just give me a moment. I'm gonna stop recording and then we'll talk for a couple more minutes, okay?
Gotcha.
Okay, very good.